Yo, what is up, peoples? The peoples, the peoples, the people, the people, the people, the people, people, people. Peekaboo. Ah, more things falling on the floor. One of my videos went relatively viral. When I say relatively, I mean like not very viral compared to the rest of the internet. But for me, that silly video I made kind of made a few hundred views. I think on some threads on Twitter made like 1,000 views. I'm kind of not used to that, so I need to make more content like that. Okay. More outrageous, silly content. Not just music content, but just silly content that I can clip. And I do a lot of that, okay, but not all the time. I'm not always in the mood, unfortunately. Not always in the mood to be a comedy genius, okay? Um, what's happening, peoples? What's happening, peoples? Uh, yeah, making funny voices and doing silly things without apology. That's kind of what I do. Uh, it's just I wish I could do it more. I wish I felt capable. So today, I decided to try the banana peels differently. I boiled them for a while and mixed them with some eggs and some salt, and hopefully it's palatable. Either way, I'm gonna eat them. I'll eat them raw, okay? It's pretty good, actually. Boiling it really helps, I think. I boiled the water off too, so I keep all the nutrients. You know, boiled it down. Concentrated banana peel, eggs, and then a good amount of salt helped. Not like a ton. Hey, how are you, TT? TT, TT. I'm actually pretty good about my data usage, so it's not truly unlimited data. Way more than I had with satellite. Satellite was terrible. This Xfinity internet, super high speeds, allows me to stream like really, really well. Really stable connection. Um, and actually, I found out streaming like at my bitrate is only using about a gigabyte an hour. So that's like barely any. If I streamed 30 days a month for like 4 hours, that's like 120 gigabytes, and that still leaves like a whole terabyte of data. I think my dad's using up most of the data. I think because he's just like loading up movies and just falling asleep while they're on. Like I'm like, what the fuck? But I still have like 400 gigabytes left of data, and it's almost the end of the month, so it's not terrible. It's just I can't really if I do like a whole bunch. I mean, I did a whole bunch of like installs for games at the beginning of last month. I mean, towards the end of last month, and I used like 90% of my data. So even after installing like a ton of games, my dad streaming movies constantly, and me streaming a few shows, and maybe like 4 to 6 gigabytes a day, I still have like 90% of I still have 10% of my data left. So it's basically unlimited for my uses. So I need to figure out how to continue to make videos like the one that went semi-viral yesterday. And I can play it. It's really silly. It happened on stream. Towards the end of my stream, interestingly enough, when I was delirious. um, I'll just load it up on YouTube. Interestingly enough, it's not doing too well on YouTube, I don't think. On my second channel. I'm doing shorts. I'm getting some views. Okay, I got 72 views for a 3 subscriber channel. I guess it's not terrible. I will see the eyes. Oh, what I see, I will see the eyes. Oh, no, yeah. Oh, always had it when you had it in your hand. I don't find it running down. Never satisfied. Never satisfied. Oh, you must see the fun in your eyes. Little tiny pennies behind. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. Instead of seeing a fun of fire. You know what is a fun of fire. You know what I'm fire. You know what I'm fire. You know Yes, I mean, that was doing pretty well on Twitter last night. On random threads I was posting to. So that's pretty good. Good analytics. I think. I think it's pretty good analytics so far after like not even 24 hours on multiple. I mean, like got 115 views there. This is one of the better ones. 946 views. Uh, 609 here. This one I think is the most one. On a Tommy Innit picture, on a Tommy Innit post, or I guess Arg's in it. It was a post about Tommy Innit. 1.2k views. I mean, not terrible. I mean, it's big for me. Somebody, yeah, people are replying. This took me down. I mean, 800 views here. I mean, replying to this, the you know, going into like trending tweets and like posting comedy stuff. I think I'm gonna keep doing that. But I need to come up with better comedy. We need better material. I need better material than that. Okay, that was lazy ass content. Being silly. Okay, now we need to be focused. Maybe I do better when I don't try. I don't know. Oh yeah, I got 1k views on a Nick Paulin post. Yes, I mean I'm getting some views on Twitter with that. So I need to do more content similar. Obvious, you know, not like similar as in the sense of like exactly the same, but like, you know, what I mean is like similar style of like being funny. I mean, who would have thought like being funny gets views on the internet? But I have to be funny. And so like I mean that made people laugh. I think it was very, there's no language barrier. I think that's like a quality. Here, let's like start taking some notes, okay? Um yeah, I have some notes here. Um let's do a new subsection here. Qualities of good content. Um Content that does well for me. So I'm gonna do um posting funny short videos on trending tweets. So that's one. Um, but what are the okay, but 1A, what are the qualities of these videos? Um, and so, um, um, short. Short enough to digest. Um, Minimal or no language barriers. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Um, yeah, I think that's for now is the only qualities I can tell from that one. Specific qualities. Specific. Oh. mm, Um, Video analysis of specific videos. Um, Um, are you satisfied? The link to the probably the YouTube Shorts, the best link. Kids always screaming next door. Ugh, I don't even want to get into that. Frickin' dude has like frickin' never been able to figure shit out. Not about his dogs, not about his kids. It's fucking weirdo, dude. If it doesn't work the first time, why would it work the 1000th time? Anyway. This is a short video in the meme style where I play guitar while singing in a extremely relaxed facial expression to the point of basically mumbling random gibberish, and then as if it's serious, as if it's dead serious, and then singing a weird shouting type chorus before returning to the mumbling style. Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very, it's a description of it, all right. I mean, I don't think the description really does it justice. Here's the description. Here's the video. Oh, what I see you, I will see your eyes. Oh, no, yeah. Oh, always had it when you had it in your hand. I don't find it running down, never satisfied. Never satisfied. Oh, you must see the fun in your eyes. Never satisfied, never satisfied. I'm satisfied. Instead of machine of a fire, and I wanted to have a fire, you know what I you want to find me here. You know, and what I'm saying, instead of here, in front of my head, what I have had. And okay, so here's some other qualities I noticed. There is a rubato. What's the term for slowing down tempo? Oh, there's a ritardando. Of course. I laughed for a split second, but then quickly return. I think that's important because like I was able to remain composure and keep doing the character. I think that's really important. Here's another one: is it gets funnier the more you watch it. Um, 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 I mean, at a certain point, things do get like, you watch it enough times, and it like loses its appeal. But then you watch it more, and it gets funny again. I think because I mean, even I watched it multiple times, and I know people say like, oh, it's easier to watch stuff you make. Sometimes it's harder to watch stuff you make because you're super critical of it. But like, I almost like if I can make myself laugh, I think I'm winning. Regardless of what other people think, anyway. But I mean, if I can laugh, then potentially other people can laugh. But if I'm enjoying the process and making and if laughter, being able to like not take yourself so seriously and being able to laugh, I think is a really high quality trait in people. Because people who take themselves too seriously, they're just like make me uncomfortable, you know. And obviously there's serious topics, but taking yourself too seriously, where you believe that you're like something that you're not, like, and it's just like you're just a human being who farts, and like you're not some special like god. Imagine doing like a dead serious video analysis. I mean, doing a dead serious analysis of this video. Oh, what I see you, I will see the eyes. Oh, no, yeah. Oh, always had it when you had it in your hand. I don't find it running down, never satisfied. Never satisfied. Oh, you must see the fun in your eyes. Little tiny pennies behind, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. Instead of machine upon a fire, and I wanted to hot upon, you know what I'm you want to find the heat, you know, I want to find the set of here in front of my head, while I have hot. It was kind of hard. Yeah, so I mean, okay. By the way, I didn't answer your question about transcriptions. I don't know if you're still here. So transcriptions, basically the way you do transcriptions is it's basically ear training. It is ear training. And it takes a lot of practice. For as a musician alone, there's a lot of things that you need to do as a musician, and one of those things is being able to determine intervals. And that's probably like the most important skill, I would say, outside of your technical fundamentals, like being able to produce sound, like your embouchure, your ability to use air if it's a wind instrument, being able to hold the strings correctly on a guitar, with building the blisters. That's a technique that takes time. And like piano, being able to hold your hand, in a relaxed shape at the right angle. Other string instruments, being able to hold it and not cause injury. That takes a while, and generally, especially if you're an absolute beginner, you want somebody there with you, to be able to correct you, because if you keep making mistakes and you don't know what mistakes you're going to make, you're not going to make any real progress. And if you do, you're going to develop a lot of bad habits that later on you can fix. I mean, obviously it's better than doing nothing. Just get started don't be afraid to start just because you don't have an instructor. There's plenty of instructors on the internet though, so it's better than in the past. But basically you do need like a mentor of some type. You need somebody who can like, look at what you're doing and like immediately say, oh, do this instead. And then you can like adjust it. Now, over time, especially after like many, many years, like 2 decades worth of over time, working on various instruments and music projects and in ensembles, You develop this kind of sense of what you need to do, which is why I was able to get to college level on clarinet within about like a single semester. And I wasn't like good in a single semester, but I was able to keep up with the ensemble. And that's important because it doesn't really matter how good you are. You know, you could obviously improve those things and you should want to do that. But honestly, the only thing that really matters as a musician is being able to show up and work with a group and being able to do the work that you need to do. That's really all that matters. I mean, people talk about, I know it sounds like people don't want to hear that, but honestly, people would rather have someone who's reliable and who can do what they're asked. And I think that goes for any job. And I know people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Because honestly, like, it doesn't matter if somebody sounds like, Miles Davis, like amazing tone and, like all this innovative stuff, like, or John Coltrane or whatever. Doesn't matter if you're like this phenomenal player. If you can't even show up to practice, with the rehearsal, if you can't show up to rehearsals, um, if you show up late or if you show up like on drugs, or if you're like, or alcohol, which is a drug, or if you show up and you can't even do what you're told, you argue with people, um, you make it all about you, etc. Like if you can't be a part of the ensemble, you really can't make it. And it's like out of everything that I can do, like I have like kind of a superpower with music because I just did it for so many years, and it's a very specific um activity where it's like I was able to train that ability, and I can't really, I mean, it's kind of bled off into like other scenarios, but for me, every single different kind of social structure, especially when it comes to employment, is like a different battle. And it's really hard to explain to people. People don't really get it. But for me, that's why I get SSI each month. Because I'm trying so hard to make something work. And I just can't. Like music, you have to be able to get on, the networking part outside of music. Once I get, that's why I do so well in like college settings, because in college, like you're injecting yourself into it. You don't have to like, I mean, yeah, you do sometimes have to audition and stuff, but that's like the opportunity is there. You're there to learn, and you're going to have way more opportunities. But where in the professional world is very competitive, you have to like be able to get those opportunities in the first place. You have to be able to find those auditions. You have to be able to like, do well in those auditions, which shouldn't be a problem if you're a trained musician. But it's really like the opportunities and the networking, which is a different kind of skill that I don't really have as much, because I've always been able to just have the opportunities given to me because it's been in school. Which I guess that's a start. I've met and worked with a bunch of musicians. Um, Not anymore. They lost. I lost contact with them. Really. I mean, they're on Facebook, but and they have. I texted them a few times. I don't think they're doing much music either since COVID. So that, to be fair. So I think it's just like I think COVID just really kind of fucked a lot of shit up in that regard. But honestly, I use that time to develop my personal life and my mental health, and also develop my whatever. Even no matter how like you want to slice it, this is still a career. Like it's a lifestyle, is content creation and streaming. But in the end of the day, it still is something I'm trying to build to be able to earn a sustainable income. Um, you know I mean, the success rate is obviously low, and that's a different thing. What I'm talking about is the activity, not the result. But the activity of streaming itself I see as a career, because it could potentially be a sustainable income, possibly even a passive income after a certain point. um But basically, so when you show up to rehearsal, you basically need to be able to follow instructions from the band leader. And if you are the band leader, then that's a different skill entirely. You have to be able to know how to not just manage yourself, you have to approach it differently, because you're managing multiple musicians, and you have to trust the musicians, like being a captain of a ship, I would guess. You can't micromanage all of them, and you shouldn't, especially if they're skilled musicians. If you should only, I mean, unless you're working as a teacher, that's a different skill entirely. But if you're working with trained musicians, you have to trust that they're going to be able to do what you asked of them, especially like in a snap. Like you say, like, hey, like, play, play that in that certain voicing, play an inversion on that measure, or maybe like, play in softer velocity, play in softer dynamics, in this section, because the sound is like not really, fitting well, with that. And like things change because your venue might change, your set list might change. You might have to like make some adjustments literally while you're doing the performance. And so you have to have constant like eye contact, and you have to be able to have like code words and stuff like that. I mean, I guess in gaming, like you have like call outs. It's basically the same in music, but you can't directly talk to people, especially since it's really loud. But you can still talk to people if you do it right. But generally you want to use like nonverbal cues. Like, and you have to plan those out during the rehearsals. So that's like kind of something you have to be able to do. You have to be able to completely like, if you're going to do a solo on a certain song, but then the band leader says like, hey, like that doesn't really fit in this song. And then you're like, okay, no solo. It's fine. Don't have an ego. It's not about you. And so it's like, that's the biggest thing I think about, becoming a musician and working with other musicians is I think the most important skill for musicians is being able to show up to rehearsals consistently, and being able to do the work while you're there without an ego, which means that if somebody asks you to do something, you do it. Um, and you might later like have discussions, but during the rehearsal it's the band leader who makes the decisions, and you have to be okay with that. And some people aren't, and they go off and do solo albums or whatever, and if they make it, that's fine, especially in today's climate. You could become a solo YouTube creator, and there's so many different digital tools that's actually possible. However, it is a completely different style, and I think people need to understand that there's anything that you do solo, you can do great stuff solo, especially with today's technology. But you need to understand that it'll never be the same as working in an ensemble, because there's other humans involved. It's a communication. It's a direct conversation. And and live performance will never feel the same as digitally prepared, edited, like highly like constructed music. You could still do live music and then like master it, but there's a difference between live performance and like studio performance. Because in studio, you might just play like one measure and like record it. Like you're just like highly focused when you're doing studio work. But when you're doing like a performance live, you can't stop during the middle of a performance. Once you start, like maybe you can say like, maybe like you start and like something happens and you're like, you kind of have to stop, and then, before you go too far. But like once you get into it, your mentality should be you're going right until the end. Okay, and like that's really important, because a lot of beginner musicians, they start playing and then they mess up and they're like, "Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry." And it gets really it's really not good. Um it doesn't matter how bad you play. You have to have the confidence that you have with your ability at the moment, because even if you could barely play an instrument, you just picked it up right now, you could still go up on stage and play it live, because it doesn't matter. Like obviously your performance is the performance of you trying to play it. Like, at least try and have confidence and finish what you start, because people see that confidence, and they respect it. Now, if it sounds bad, they're obviously not going to like it. But you have to have that mentality, because you can improve, and you learn from that, and you go into the practice room and you isolate those problems. Hopefully you have a recording of that performance, which is why I think streaming is an amazing tool. because I can literally watch myself. And they always say, like, if you really want to watch yourself while you're playing so that you can make adjustments, so you can see, like, certain things that you would never normally be able to see. Having like a monitor helps too. But then you're in a different mindset while you're performing. So if you go back later and watch the VOD, then you can see things that you wouldn't normally see because you're in a different mindset. You're not in the moment of creating it. So it's like there's this whole process that you got to go through. And if you don't have the confidence, if you think that, I'm not ready to perform. It's just like with streaming, like people like are afraid to start streaming. Like I have a friend who's like really bad at this. He's like, oh, I'm not ready. I don't have all the right equipment. Like I need to set it up perfectly. I'm like, literally download OBS, set up the default settings, make it like connect your Twitch account to OBS and make a title on, make a title and a category like just chatting, and just say like creating my OBS settings and as the title, and literally click start streaming with 0 sources available, no audio inputs, nothing. And just literally set it up. Like, cause otherwise, like, what are you waiting for? Like you're going to be able to figure it out as you go and nobody cares. Like literally you could have the best setup possible and nobody will watch you. So it's like, you may as well just start, because if you don't, because there's something that happens when you click start streaming where you're on the clock. Just like in a performance, if you go up on stage, you know that you're up on stage. You know that there's people watching, hopefully. And you can imagine people watching. And even if there's nobody in the seats, it doesn't matter because you're performing on the stage. So you could be up on stage, 0 people in the seats, absolutely 0. There's no stage crew. There's no nothing. It's just you on stage, or maybe you and your, there is a viewer, and that's you. Like you're the viewer. And so you're creating this for people who are potentially viewing it. Streaming is different because nobody's going to watch the VOD. So that's why I try to create stuff on stream that I can then later clip and then turn into like a YouTube short. Hopefully I don't speak too long. Well, then I can at least make it into a longer form YouTube video. Or I could use it as a rough draft for a future video. So it's like I see it as like using this process of going in front of the stage, even when 0 people are watching, and still like trying to do what I want. Just yeah, I mean you can't read what's on those papers, but just making sure I cover those up because those are like really delicate. Those are really sensitive like documents. I know that's not what you asked, but it's important that you understand this, is that nothing in music, especially, like, particularly, since that's what we're talking about, nothing in music is like a quick fix. I mean, there will be quick fixes. What I mean is like, there's nothing that's going to substitute going through the process of becoming a musician. So like when I say that, a musician is not the same as a guitarist. It's not the same as a saxophonist or a clarinetist or a flutist. A musician is somebody who works with music, who's able to perform music, because it's always a performance, even in the practice room. But in the practice room, it's a different kind of performance because you're performing to yourself in order to improve future performances. But there is a performance in some form. And in fact, you could say that every moment of our lives is a performance. We're literally performing activities. Now, there's different levels of performance. Like, it depends on how you define performance. Because a performance is not just one thing. It's not just going up on stage and playing with the band, like playing saxophone. It's not like being in a Hollywood film or whatever. It's not just being a streamer or a YouTuber. Those are different kinds of performances. A performance is also going to the grocery store to get your groceries. That, I mean, at least that's the way I see it. I don't know if it's an autism thing. I just see everything as a performance. But there's different, and that's why it's so difficult for me, is I've had to spend an entire lifetime categorizing performances. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it only makes sense to autistic people and other neurodivergent people. But every moment of my life is a performance, and that's why it's so exhausting. But I've been learning how to cope with it and how to be able to overcome it. And it's been taking like over 2 decades at this point, because it wasn't a problem super early in life, but then as soon as I went into kindergarten, so I guess like basically 3 decades. Yeah, so I've been alive for 34 years. So like I've had the first 4 years of my life were okay, because I'm just like a freaking infinite. But as soon as you're expected to interact in a social group, suddenly there were problems. And nobody did anything about it. They just punished me. They just wanted me to correct the behavior, and that was a problem for a lot of people, and it still is today, in a lot of places. But like especially in the '90s, like they just wanted to correct people's behavior. There was like a whole bunch of lawsuits with Ritalin, because they would just prescribe Ritalin to like kids who were misbehaving, because they just wanted kids to behave. And they just like gave false diagnosis of ADHD and so, or ADD they called it at the time. And there were kids who actually did have ADHD, but then there was a lot of kids who just had some other reason why they were acting out, like maybe it was autism, which you can't cure with medicine. Like and also like there's no cure for ADHD either. It's a neurodivergent disorder similar to autism, but in some key differences. Um, I don't want to list those. My therapist has talked about it to me, where I was concerned about ADHD, but she talked about it like a few times, and I have like multiple doctors. Um, I've basically explained it to me that there's a difference between ADHD and autism. Like this, is basically the TLDR. Um, uh, and I forgot what I was saying about that. See, there's a there's a common there's a common trait, is I just literally forget what I'm talking about. Um, but then I come back to it. That's the thing. I was talking about how everything's a performance, and then how I have to categorize things, and then oh yeah, they basically just wanted they basically just they didn't care about environmental factors, about potential like what's going on at home, any other kind of there was still very little understanding, and there still is very little understanding of neurodivergence. um but basically they just cared about kids sitting in their seats and behaving. That's all they cared about, and honestly that's all most people care about. They just want you to show up and behave, and they don't care about the long term. They just want you to be, especially like in the military. They literally just, I mean, I guess they try to think about long term, because obviously, if you just throw anybody into a combat situation, it's going to cause some severe damage, potentially, like very high potential of severe mental health damage. At least they like, put them through boot camp and do somewhat of a psychological training. But honestly, like, people, they end up they're there to create a soldier, and creating a soldier at the is at the expense of mental health, because in the long term it hurts a lot of people. And we're going to learn about this more as we listen to these Vietnam veterans over time. I don't know if I'm going to watch it today, but I've been basically I basically set myself up for a project of watching as many interviews as possible from Vietnam veterans, so I can understand PTSD as part of my as part of a blog series on PTSD, because I want to understand PTSD not just for myself, but potentially to help others, potentially to help researchers and psychologists. Who knows? Like, who knows? Like, I mean, I might be able to contribute, not like directly, but like maybe I can add some kind of insight. Who knows? It's a data point. I can add data points for researchers to be able to use. That's something I can contribute to society. I could, I'm already documenting like a lot of my life process documenting my transition, for example. There's only 1% of us. And imagine among 1%, how many of us put themselves online the way I have, like with streaming and content creation, which is a very rare group of people already. So a rare group of people within a rare group. Like, so, like that's valuable data for researchers, I think. Now, how they're going to use that data and parse it, I don't know. That's for them to figure out. I'm not the researcher. I'm the person. you know. Uh, but I think it takes like a lot of like understanding, like why you go into the practice room and what you're trying to accomplish, because a lot of people, and obviously like I said, it's good to just start. Most people when they start music, like I kind of don't remember all the specifics because I was like 5 years old. But basically the specific like basically people get an instrument and they just start playing, and then somewhere along the way they kind of lose that, which is unfortunate because that's where you want to go back to eventually. You want to go back to that state where you're just messing around, where you just want to have fun. And then like you get all this stuff in your head and it freezes you, because you're like, oh, I have to be able to play it in tune. I have to be able to play the scale. I have to be able to understand all this music theory. I have to understand like how to play this song, or I have to play it correctly. Literally, like, it's just sound traveling through the air and you're trying to make it sound good, pleasing, and you want it be, and so you're basically going to be trying out, like if you have a trumpet, like you're going to do that, and it might be fun, but you might listen to it later and it's like not very pleasing, and you're like, okay, like there is like a certain level of like you just play, and then there's a time to go back and improve things, but when you're actually performing, you just want to play. Like you're performing. You're on stage. You trust your preparation. Your preparation might literally be you just grab the instrument and you put it to your mouth and you're just going to like try to make a sound. That's literally the first step of being a musician, is just showing up and trying. And that's the steps that you're going to continually make. But you're going to learn more each time. Over time, like you play that note and you're like, "Oh, I don't know how to even make a sound. Like, what do I do?" And then maybe hopefully you have a teacher. But if you didn't have a teacher, the next step would be like, okay, and even if there was no data, like if there was absolutely no data on it, like if you were the first person, like suddenly, like if there was like a trumpet or a saxophone or something just magically sitting there, but you had absolutely no outside information except for that instrument. That's the only thing you had. Well, then you would like figure out, first of all, like how you make a sound at all. Maybe you don't even know like it makes sound, which that might take a while too to figure out. Like you need to figure out what it is. But if you finally know that like it's something that you need to like, you pick it up and you're like, you put it in your mouth and like you say like, oh, what is this part? It's like sticking out. Like there's thing, and then like maybe, and then it comes out and you're like, oh, what happens if I take it out? And it's like, why is it there? And then maybe you take off the mouthpiece, like for a trumpet, for example, and you're like, okay, what do I do with this? Maybe you put it in your butt. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're going to do with it. But I mean, if in the case where somebody puts it up to their mouth because they say, oh, maybe I can make a sound out of it. Like, and then they start that process of thinking. And then so they grab the mouthpiece, they put it up to their mouth, and they start like blowing, and they hear like, they're like, okay, well, what happens if I tighten my lips? Because maybe they already discovered you can make a sound if you go, or like, if you've already made sounds before. So you're already a musician. You just don't know it. Everybody makes sound. Like, talking is a sound that's used to communicate information to someone. You're transmitting data in some form. And, there should be a purpose in most cases, but honestly, the purpose is literally to communicate. Whatever that means, whatever outcome that entails, whatever desire or intention that entails. It might be different things. But, like usually a performance with music is designed to make people happy. And there's multiple things going on with music that we don't really understand. But, it's a very primal thing. It's something that we don't we like it. We tend to like it. And then and it does things in our brain, that we understand it in some, relatively to ourselves. And it like we process it a certain way, and we don't really, there's a whole bunch of emerging properties from that, and this is generally about the human brain in general, is we just don't really know like what the brain is actually doing, and how much is like just a physical part, and how much is like an emerging property, and how much is even glued to our biology. Like, there might be something outside of our biology that exists, and if we lose this body, there might be something that stays behind. So there might be something that is attached to that body, and obviously, it wouldn't be the same, because it runs in, this is the hardware. And if you lose the hardware, what do we have left? It might just be this like kind of thoughtless thing. There's no brain to process it. It's just like this, like imagining like an invisible cloud, like a ghost, or it's like this thing, and then it finds new hardware. Maybe it goes into a tree, and it feels like, oh, there's roots, and it doesn't have the same kind of process that a human has. And this is why I feel like reincarnation is probably the most reasonable thing, according to physics, to believe in. Like, if there's anything, and it's never going to be what any like religion talks about. I feel like those religions are designed for people while we're here. Like, we're just trying to make sense of the world around us. But I feel like there may be physics involved with death that we don't understand. It's probably like the biggest thing that we will never understand because we're alive. And I don't know, I don't want to say never, because maybe after we die, there might be potential for us to find a new host, and whatever that means. Like, so it's like, that's why I feel like out of anything that we've observed in physics, from what I've observed, just from reading like research and stuff like that about how physics works in general, that like, nothing is really created or destroyed. The basic elements return, but there's more than just the physical elements that we see. Like, there's things that we don't see. Like, we found like dark matter, and or evidence of dark matter, and stuff that we like didn't previously understand, and we still don't understand. And like, we really don't know all the information. So I feel like having an open mind is really important. But becoming a musician is basically it's not something you can just figure out in like a 10-minute YouTube video. Like, it's a process that's going to take a lot of deliberate effort over time. And there's a lot of processes like that in life. And for music especially, you need to be able to hear two tones and notice that there's a space in between it. And there's only a certain amount of space. And I'm not even going to get into like microtonal stuff, which microtonal stuff is really not, there's only so many notes that our brain recognizes. Because you could say there's microtonal stuff, but those are just out of tune notes. Because we still perceive them as a diatonic system of like, there's 12 notes. Like, there's like there's C, D, E, F, G, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, or E sharp, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, and and B. Like, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, and B. So it's like 11 tones, I guess. So there's only like 11 different notes in different octaves. And like in a piano, for example, we have 88 keys. There's 88 notes on a grand piano, on a full piano. There's really only 88 notes. Okay, there's in-betweens like microtonal, but your brain perceives them in similar ways as there's only so many notes. But then how many numbers are there between 0 and 1? Infinite. So you really have to think of it that way. It does sound like it's limiting, but our brain has to make sense of the world somehow. And that's how our brain works. And there may be other understandings of music, but really it's just it's a bimodal system, basically. If you have two notes like C and C sharp, here's C and here's C sharp, then there's a space in between those two notes. But really, there's only C and there's only C sharp. And you could be out of tune a little bit, but you're still like basically at C and C sharp. And then if you go C and D, well, then you go 1, 2. So it's like you have like a half step, and then you have another half step. So a whole step would be from C to D. So it's like you have to be able to understand these are called intervals. And so, C to C sharp is 1 half step, or what we call a minor second. Because a major second is 2 half steps. And then a minor third is 3 half steps. And then a major third is 4 half steps. And then, then you have perfect fourth. And then you have augmented fourth. And then you have a perfect fifth. Perfect augmented fourth is the same as diminished fifth, because you're augmenting the fourth by raising it a half step, or you're diminishing the fifth by lowering a half step. So when you say diminished or augmented, it's the same thing. You're saying augmented fourth or diminished fifth, and it depends on the context, of how you want it. It's the same thing, and just like how E sharp is the same as F natural. There's a reason why you might want to think about it differently. And they're the exact same things. There's a reason why you might want to think about them differently. But that doesn't really matter. But it's still the same thing. It's the same basic principle. And you just put a name to it. That's why theory exists. Is we're just putting a name to something that's already there. And people will discover it independently. But it's way better, in my opinion, to use an established, like several hundred years, like thousands of years of 10,000 plus years of music understanding that has developed over the course of like tens of thousands of years or whatever. There's evidence of music. It's a natural thing. People like to bang drums. They sing. You have a voice. So you're talking. That's basically music. There's a cadence to it. And the fact that we have a word called cadence, that's part of language. So being able to understand the terminology really helps, because it means that you have less to think about and you could get straight to what matters. So that's the reason why we say minor second, or you say a half step. But we can say minor second of the C major scale. Because then it's independent of the relativeness. Because we can say a half step up from D, which is D sharp or E flat. Depending on the context, you might want to call it either one of those. A half step up from D natural is D sharp or E flat. But you could say E flat is a perfect fourth from the B flat major scale, or B flat Ionian mode, which is the tonic of the B flat major scale. So I'm trying to, I'm sorry it took so long. I'm trying to explain how do you do transcription? So being able to do transcription is basically ear training. You're basically hearing something and then you're putting it on the staff. And the staff is also just a guide. Obviously we understand music in a very primal way, but in order to work with it in a very non stressful way, in a very non-frustrating way, it's good to have terminology. That's why we have languages like English or Mandarin or Spanish. Otherwise we're just communicating bah, bah, that's basically what language is. It's just communicating ideas, and how you communicate those ideas depend on what your needs are. Because if all your needs is you need to go out and hunt for food, whether it's gathering vegetable roots, or fruits, and also because we're omnivores, because we need multiple nutrients, because we discover that we need these certain things. We get hungry. And if you don't understand what these things are, if nobody told you what these things are, you're going to discover these things naturally. You could say it's encoded in your DNA, but like it's really like the reason why we have a brain is because we process it from scratch. We process things from scratch because we take in information and we adjust to what our needs are. Because our body tells us that we need nutrient. I mean, our body just literally needs energy. It is hard, and it takes a lifetime. It takes a lot of training. But if you know what you're trying to get to, you can make that training a lot easier in yourself, which is kind of why I'm making my YouTube series to begin with. So I want people to avoid the pitfalls that a lot of people have when they start self-teaching. Because most people, ideally, you would have a private coach, which potentially I could provide services on those lines. But I prefer doing, helping as many people as possible first. And then potentially like being able to like afford my time, because I feel like my time is better spent trying to grow as a content creator, than to just help one person or, but I feel like if I establish that audience, then maybe there's some people like, hey, I can charge you a certain amount and I could actually do a one-on-one coaching. Basically, it requires correctional data, which means that you can't really do it without a reference. You need a reference. So you need to at least know at least one tone, which is like, it could just be one note. Like like a virtual, like let's say a 440 hertz drone. You know. And you try to match that. You try to match that the best you can. And you need to also do it without it. And without any like what a lot of people do is they try to get there, but your goal is to get there right away, as fast as possible. Like so that takes a lot of practice, and you need to be able to be honest with yourself, which is why having a teacher is really important, because that person can see it objectively. Whereas you're not able to see it objectively. If you don't know that you're doing something wrong, then how are you supposed to fix it? So a lot of people, when they start music, they're like, and they think that's the note. And I know that it sounds weird, but a lot of people think that's the right note. But that's a harmony. That's a perfect fourth. That's a major six. That's a perfect fifth. Now an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth. They call that a tritone, because it's from the tonic of A. It's a A C sharp A. So a major second would be B. So you have A major second is B, a major third is C sharp, perfect fourth is D. So and then so D sharp or E flat is a augmented fourth. If it's D, E flat is a diminished fifth or augmented fourth. There's a So that's a tritone, or you know, like basically like. Because the reason you call it tritone is because it's a major third, and then a major, and then a. Oh wait, it's. Oh God, why am I see. This is why I need like a reference point. So let's look at let's look at the piano keyboard, for example. So you have an A, and then you have a B, C sharp, A, B sharp. I mean, I guess it'd be E natural. So A, B, C sharp, E, A, B, C sharp, D sharp. You know, that's a perfect fourth, A and D sharp. But then you have A and E. A major is G, D, A. So it's 3 sharp, F, C, and G. So never mind, it's not D sharp. A, B, C sharp, D, E. What the hell was that? Oh, is that my phone? I have no idea what that sound was. Yeah, like being able to understand like what note is happening, and like being able to determine the intervals. It takes a lot of direct effort. Like you need to have a reference point, and being able to. It's not about like copying it as you go. You need to be able to do it from memory. So you need to be able to play it, and then do it without it. You can't just do it from. Okay, it was just a reminder from my calendar. Okay. For tomorrow. Oh no, I have a new message from my doctors. Okay, and let me load up a sound, of course. So being able to have a sound. So you have A. So you have A, which is the tonic. And then you have a major second. Then you have a C sharp, it's a major third. And then you have a D, which is a perfect fourth. And E is a perfect fifth. Now, if you have a diminished fifth or an augmented fourth, like how do you call this note? So you have a major second, major third, and then you have a minor third. Like you have a major third. Oh, you have a minor third and a minor third. So that's why it's called a tritone. I was trying to get I was trying to remember like why it's called a tritone. So it's called a tritone. I know it's like when you forget like this is how memory works. You know, it's like sometimes it's like you just forget things. It doesn't make you stupid. Although it's easy to think that. So it's a minor. It's a 3 half steps plus 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. And then we do have terminology. So we have terminology. So we could say this is the do. It's the tonic. It doesn't matter which note you have. If you start over here, that's your do. So if you have a do, you go so do, ra, ra, re, re, me, mi, fa, do, ra, oh, do, ra, re, me, me. That's why we have like minor chords. Because it's like, it's a minor third. So you have do, ra, re, me, mi, fa, fi, sol, la. Okay, what? See, this is why I need to know the terminology. Solfeggio. Oops. So do, yeah, so it's like when you're going up, you say it differently, like do, di, re, re, mi, fa, fi, sol, sol, do, si, la, li, di, di, do, 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 di, de, la, le, sol, se, fa, mi, me, ra, re, ra, do, do, di, do, re, mi, do, re, me, do, re, mi, do, re, me. You have a piano melody? Yeah, piano is perfect. What do you say? Yeah, exactly. Like these are what you say. This we call it solfege. So it's basically telling you the scale degrees. With our diatonic system. So music theory, diatonic. Yeah, it's a heptatonic, include whole steps and and 2 half steps. So it's like when you start on what we call like with the tonic, a major scale is like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. But those are, that's our baseline, like our starting point. So we have different modes, of like whole steps and half steps. So we go for Ionian mode, which is a major scale. You have a whole step, whole half, whole half. So it's whole step, half step, and then from that half step, whole step, whole step, whole step. So whole half, whole half, whole half, whole half. And so for Dorian mode, which is second, it's kind of like a minor scale, but it's not really. So it's a flat 3 and a flat 7. So basically, it's whole half whole, half whole. And then you have a Phrygian mode, which is half whole half whole. Then Lydian mode is whole half, whole half. Mixed Lydian mode, which is the flat 7, is whole half, whole half whole. Aeolian mode, which is like natural minor, which is a flat 3, flat 7, and a flat 6. So you have whole half whole, whole, half, whole, whole. And then Locrian mode, which is a weird one, it has like a diminished fifth, or no, it's flat 3, whole, whole. Yeah, it has a yeah, it has like a diminished fifth. So flat 5. So flat 3, flat 7. Yeah, flat 3, flat 7, flat 3, flat 3, flat 7, flat 5. So half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole, whole. And this makes more sense. Let me get out the the sheet music stuff. This makes more sense if you think of it in terms if you think of it in terms of if you think of it in terms of the fuck if you think of it in terms of let me just open up stuff. Diatonic scales and modes. So if we think of it this way, why is that there? If we think of it this way, so if you have a C major, what the hell is going on? Oh, duh. So if you think of it this way, so if you have a, let's just write here, we have a, let's just do a C major scale, no sharps or flats. Here we have a F major scale, which is 1 flat, and then let's see here, we have a B flat major scale. How about we do a G major scale, which is 1 sharp, and then how about we do a B flat major scale, which is 2 flats. And then how about we do a D major scale, which is 2 sharps. And then an E flat major scale, which is 3 flats. And it's about noticing patterns, by the way. So if right here we have a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now what happens if we start on the G? So we have G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm going to make the tonics filled in. So now, like, we notice that the C is now the 1, 2, 3, 4th. Is a perfect 4th in this one. In this case. So this is 1. Usually write it underneath, but this is 1, and this is a perfect 5th of 1. Because if our tonic is C major 7, which, by the way, we could also write it this way. There's a shorthand to do this. You just write a triangle here. And 5th is a G 7th, which is a flat 7. Dominant 7. So the C major 7 is called, that's C major 7th. And this is G dominant 7th, which is like a G flat 7th. But it's not, you don't want to write that because you'll think it's G flat, obviously. But it's a flat seventh because in the mix, this is an Ionian scale, and the fifth is a Mixolydian scale. It's a mode. Ionian mode, Mixolydian mode. And this is important. I know it sounds like really complex. It's actually really important to understand it this way. Because the way in diatonic, music, which is Western, basically all of music, except for we have different kind of stuff going on with microtonal stuff. That's like more like, certain regions, styles of understanding music. It's different. But if in most of the world's music, we understand it diatonic music theory. So we have C as the first, but if we start on the fifth, we start on the fifth over here. We start on a G. So now if we go to the G major scale, if we start on the G over here, which is the same thing, it now becomes the 1, which is a G major seventh. So we got G, A, G, A, B, C, D, E, and here we have the F sharp because we have an F sharp in the scale. So if I just remind you here by putting parentheses here, we have an F sharp here. F sharp, G. So it's important to notice the difference, because what's the difference between this scale and this scale? If you notice that this scale has no sharps, so that means it's a F natural, which is a half step below F sharp. So in order to understand intervals, it's really important to understand diatonic theory and modes. Because if you're in the fifth of a scale, which is G7th, it's a fifth of 1. So this is 5 of 1 is what you call this. 5 of 1. It's really 5 of 1. And so and basically I'm gonna explain diatonic. So diatonic is you have let's say you have C major, no sharps or flats. You're gonna have different notes, of course. So if we do this again, C, D. Let's space it out a bit because we're gonna write notes. Pun not intended. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So what we have here is this is the 1. And if you understand you have to understand the modes to know this, but I'm just going to tell you. This is 2, and we wrote it underscore, lowercase, because these are minor. And we have 3, minor 7th. So it's like, it's going to be 2, minor 7th. You could also write it capitals, of course, 2 minor, and you just put whether it's minor 7th or not. So it's 1 major 7th, 2 minor 7th. This is 3 minor 7th. God damn it. Yeah, I'm writing too big. So this is going to be 1 major 7th, 2 minor 7th, 3 minor 7th. This is 4 perfect 4th. Okay, I'm running out of room, that's why. Yeah, 3 minor 7th, 4 dominant 7th, 5th, dominant 7th, and then 6, minor 7th, and 7, half diminished 7th. Or no, yeah, it's 6. Is it 6 half diminished? I don't know. No, it's 6 minor 7th, right? No, I know it's 7 diminished. I think it's just minor 7th. And then we have the tonic again. Let me space this out. Jesus Christ. Five, 7. 5 dominant 7th. 6. I think that's half diminished, right? Oh God. Music theory. No, it's diatonic music theory. Let's go to actually musictheory.net. This triads. Let's go to wait, where was that dictionary I had? Music theory reference. Here we go. Where is it? Intervals, introduction to intervals, Roman numerals. Here we go. Diatonic chords, in major. So if you're in major, it's going to be okay. They're not telling you the 7ths. It's really important to understand this. I know people think it's esoteric. It really isn't. Here we go. 7th chords. Because people think it's esoteric. It's really important to understand this. Roman numerals. Here we go. Yeah, it's 1 major 7, 2 dominant 7, 3 dominant 7th, 4 perfect 4th dominant 7th, 5 dominant 7, 6. It says 6 7. Yeah, 6 dominant 7. And 7 diminished 7th. That's in minor. Yeah, so in minor scale, which is the relative minor of C, is A, because if you in order to explain this, in order to understand this, every key signature has a relative minor. So this is if you're going to start on C major 7th, then you're starting on the C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. But if you start on the A, let's put some space in between. If you start on the A, it becomes A minor 7th. And A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is now the 6th dominant 7th. It's the 6th. Understanding diatonic theory, the reason why we use Roman numerals is because this is the same no matter what note you're using. You could say A minor 7th, but that you don't know what scale you're in, what your tonic is. If your tonic is C major, then your 6th is A minor 7th. So you need to understand this, because the C then becomes, you have A. If you start on the A, you have A, B, C, which is a neighbor tone or whatever. No, it's like a because the major and the minor. You have the minor here and you have the major here, the tonic here. So the relative minor of C is A, which is down from C it's down a half step and a whole step. So it's down a major third, which is up a minor 6th. They all add up to 9, by the way. So this is a major third, and this is a minor 6th. And they add up to 9. Basically, anything adds up to 9. Like if you're going backwards, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be the inversion. So if you're going down a major third, that means you're going up a minor 6th, and vice versa. So it's the 6, 7, the C, it's 6. This is 6 of 1. The A is 6 of 1. So if we have an A minor 7, we call that 6 of 1. Okay, because there's a minor 6 difference. Between the notes. So you go C, you go D, E, F, G, A. There's 6 diatonic steps. Now remember, diatonic steps doesn't mean, like, it's a mix between whole steps and half steps. So if we have major, let me finish this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then A. Now if we do A major, that's G, D, A. It's 3 sharps. F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. So that means if you start on the A now, if your A is the tonic, this is now the new 1. So that's the new 1 major 7th. So you go from C being the 1 to A being the 1. And now the C is 6. If you're thinking of it as this is the new 1, then it becomes major. If it's the 6, it's a minor 7th. Because if you have A major, it's going to be A, B, C sharp, you now no longer have a C in the diatonic scale. It's a C sharp. So you would have to have a flat 3 in order to be the C major in order to be a C. So A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and then A. So remember, this is sharp, and this is sharp. So that means if you want to do a C natural, let's do a new one. If you want to do a C natural, remember, this is the key of A. So you have A major seventh. If you want to play a C natural, so if you have C natural, well, that becomes a flat 3 of the A major scale. So you have, if you have 1, 2, 3, it's gonna now be a flat 3. Or you can see it this way. You can see it as a note of another scale. So if you're gonna have a C natural in an A major scale, there's multiple ways to think of this. It's kind of cool. This might blow your mind. It might not. I don't know. It's a new page. Jesus. So if we have F, C, G are your 3 sharps, it's important to understand that if you start on an A and if you want a flat 3, so A, B, C natural, which is a flat, so instead of C sharp, you play C natural. And usually if this were diatonic, you would be playing. That would be a mixolydian. But it depends on which note of the scale it is. So if you start on the C natural, it's going to be flat 3. You do flat 3 and then continue along the rest of the diatonic scale. F, C, G. God damn it. Let me get my keyboard. Jesus Christ. Just a moment. Takes me a while to do things. I really apologize. I'm not very good. But you have to start in order to get better and faster. I'm not very good at teaching. I apologize. It takes me so long, but the quality is better because if you do something longer, you're going to learn more because you're going to reinforce the stuff. So usually, just because something is fast doesn't make it better. Okay, let me just get set up because I really like having the setup. If everything is just kind of ad hoc, it gets really annoying. If I have it set up beforehand, like right now, I have it way better set up. I need to plug it in, but I don't have to like stop to do that. Like I need to have everything ready. Where did I? Where the hell did I put the USB? Oh. Yeah, most people don't have the patience that's required for music. They just want something quick, and then they wonder why they never learn anything. It's like you gotta really go in and die and like just really get dirty. Like you have to get really fucking dirty to learn music. It's like really, you gotta go like total workshop. Like you really got, it's like a science. Like you have to like treat it like a like you're like it's like hardcore science. I mean, it is science. Let's see. C natural. D. Oh, God damn it. Okay. Okay, and so if we just have a flat 3. Yeah, so it's like a weird scale we now have. So like this is going to be weird in the key of A. It's now flat 3 of 1, but if we start on a different note like D, yeah, like there's different ways to make scales. Trying to learn yourself, I mean that's both. I mean I'm relearning and expanding on stuff, and I'm also like trying to like learn how to condense it down for somebody who's just learning. And I have my teachers to draw upon. My jazz theory teacher specifically is a lot of this. So you can form different scales if you make flat 3 of. So this is like flat 3 of 1. and it's a weird scale. So if you start on, if you start on C natural, then it kind of creates your own scale. C natural. If you start on C natural, but then you still play every single other note. So then you play D natural, E natural, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, and C sharp. And C, if you play also C natural here. So now you have a C sharp to D. That's a whole step. So we're going to do that as a whole step. And then we go D to F sharp. So this is a half step. And then we have F sharp to E. It's not. God damn it! I'm really so fucking stupid. C to D, D to E. So that's a whole step. So we have, and then we have E to F sharp. So we have another whole step. And then F sharp to G sharp. And then a G sharp to A is a half step. And then A to B is a whole step. And then we have another half step. So yeah, it's really important. Like, it's a flat 3 of 1. So we still have A. We haven't changed the order of the notes. If you know A major scale, you could also play this weird scale, which is flat 3 of 1. So and it's flat because we put in what's called an accidental, which is where we just change accidental, because it's showing up accidentally. Like you change one of the notes from the diatonic scales. You're altering it. So you're altering the diatonic scale. This would normally be a C sharp, which would be, if you did C sharp, it would be C sharp, D, E sharp, C sharp, D. So you do C sharp, D. Which is a C sharp Phrygian, which is the third of 1. So normally it'd be a C sharp Phrygian. But if you flat the 1 of the Phrygian, so that's the flat 3 of 1. So it would be, yeah, so you're basically accidental. If you add the accidental, it becomes a flat 3. And, natural makes a sharp into a flat. It flats the sharp, or it sharps the flat. Like if it's because flat goes down, because you're like, if you got a flat tire, it goes flat, It has this frowny face. This is a smiley face because it's not flat. But then, a sharp goes to a natural when it's flat, and a flat goes to, goes to a sharp goes to a natural, and a flat goes to a double flat. If that makes sense. Which a double flat could be a natural of the next note if depending on the scale. You might just go to the previous note. Like a double flat is still a double flat. For example, if you have E flat, wait. So if you're normally playing like E natural, so if you have E natural, but then you have a flat, let's just do a G natural. If you have a G natural, or if you have a G flat, for example, which is F sharp, and then you do natural, it goes sharp. Okay, that's what I meant. Jesus Christ. A natural basically makes it flat, and a natural makes it sharp. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. God damn it. Yeah, trying to put all this stuff into terms is so fucking hard. I don't know how to explain how difficult this is to explain for me. Because most of it is just kind of in there. Like, and most of it is just, it's already in there. Like, I already understand it, like, inside my own head. But trying to put it into terms I already have studied. Like, studied in college. But I studied it with the intention of learning it for myself. I didn't study it with the intention to teach it. So it's like I'm trying to learn a different skill here, which is trying to organize my thoughts. It's really difficult, okay? Really fucking difficult. I forgot what I was even talking about. This is what makes my life difficult, by the way. Everything's so disorganized. I was talking about that weird scale. So basically, a C sharp would be a Phrygian, which is, 3 of 1 is a Phrygian. And I guess I'm going to write down all of those. So you have, just we go back to this. 1 is Ionian. God damn it. Let's do something here. I know what to do. And then make a new layer. But keep that visible. Okay, so we have 1. That's a weird color. God damn it. Got like an eggshell color here. I like we're using weird colors. Okay, so we got Ionian. Oh fuck. We got the 1 major 7th. We got the 2 minor 7th. We have the 3 minor 7th. 4 major dominant 7th. 5 dominant 7th. 6 minor 7th. And 7 half diminished. Oh no, 7 diminished. Diminished 7th. So 1 is called Ionian. 2, yes, you have to stagger these. So 1 is called an Ionian mode. 2 is called Dorian. 3 is called Phrygian. 4 is called Lydian. 5 is called Mixolydian. 6 is called Aeolian. Let me write it again. Six is called Aeolian. And 7 is called Locrian. So if you start on those, it creates these different scales. These are called modes, diatonic modes. And there's obviously a ton of different scales that you can do. Like if you do flat 2, it's going to become like some other scale. So if you go, like let's just use C as an example. Oh, we can use A. So use A is A, B, C sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. God damn it. Oh no, things are getting tangled up. Okay. Okay. Hey. Oh god, now my phone is doing things. Please provide feedback on your online experience for Xfinity. Okay. A. Okay, what is going on? God damn it. Okay, we got A, B, C sharp, D, E, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Okay, but if we, let me go down, oh, god damn it. What's going on? I'm streaming. Fuck off. I'm busy. I'm at work. Do you understand? What would you do if I wasn't here? Just think that every single time you want to talk to me. What is it? Is it quick? I have it muted. What do you want?
All of a sudden, my
Well, then order some new ones on Amazon.
No, all of them.
Yeah, order some new ones on Amazon then. Buy them with your own money. Go to the store. Go to Radio Shack.
I'm trying to be gentle.
Okay, well, if it's broken, then don't rely on me. Don't. Well, then that's your problem.
No,
Stop relying on me for your stuff.
I'm not to interrupt you.
Well, no, you didn't know. Why are you relying on me to fix your headphones?
I'm not.
Rely on yourself. Okay, call somebody and say, hey, do you want to take me to Radio Shack? You have a friend you could call, right? You can call Gary.
Nope.
Call Gary.
Thank you.
Well, okay, if you want to fix, maybe you solve it yourself.
Okay.
Jesus fucking Christ. I'm not muted. God damn it. God damn it. My dad just doesn't fucking know how to fucking take care of his own shit. I've already given him like 3 headphones. God damn it. Fuck! Trying to work! God damn it! I'm not on vacation, okay? I'm not on vacation just because I'm at home. Why don't you get that through your head?
You already told me to fuck off.
No, that's not what I said. I said you treat me like I'm on vacation. I'm at work. I'm at work. Do you understand? I'm at work. I am at work. Do I bother you at your work? Let me do me. Let me be me. That guy. No, I'm at work, okay?
Yeah.
Do I bother you at work?
I was really gentle.
Well, no. Well,
I told you.
he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. Stop thinking about yourself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not angry because you asked me. I'm angry because You're refusing to
No, I
understand
asked you because
that you are at work.
You know,
I mean, you are on vacation. I am at work.
because you know how to do things.
Yeah, but maybe you should rely on yourself more.
Well,
Maybe you should not rely on your daughter to replace your headphones. Maybe you could go to the store and buy your own.
It's not the headphones.
Okay, well then fix it. Maybe you can fix it. Google it. Google how to fix it.
Why are you yelling at me?
Because you need to be self-reliant. What if I wasn't here? What if I was at a different location for work? What if I was at Burger King or something? Like, fix it yourself. Don't wait for me. What if I moved out? What if I died?
But
Okay, like, take care of yourself. Don't rely on me to fix your problems. Okay, I'm having enough trouble working on my own life.
all right.
I'm working on my own life. I can't live yours too.
All right.
Hey, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Can't live two lives. I gotta live my life. God damn it. Fucking piece of shit, dude. Trying to fucking work. Fuck! Like, it's hard enough trying to keep focus without somebody interrupting you. Trying to, like, fucking get their fucking headphones to work. Like, God damn it. Fucking take out the fucking pacifier. 64 years old. Computer programmer, like, communication specialists. You're in the fucking Marine Corps. Like, what the fuck? Like, when you were in the Marines, did you fucking, like, ask people to, like, wipe your ass? Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Say once a Marine, always a Marine, then fucking act like it. Jeez. How do I merge layers? There we go. Damn it. Fucking hard just to fucking do this as it is! That's some fucking drunk asshole constantly acting like I'm on vacation! Just because I work from home! Okay, this is a problem, not just for me. So many fucking people, they work from home, and people on their days off act like everybody else is on a day off. Like, no, I'm at work! I am at work! God damn it! You don't fucking respect somebody who's at work! I don't fucking come into your work and tell you how to fucking do your job. I don't fucking come into your work and ask you, like, if you can, how do I turn on the TV? Make me some lunch. I need help. I need to go into I need you to drive me to Burger King because I'm drunk and I have the munchies. Like, fuck, dude. Oh, it doesn't really work because if I erase, it's... Oh, yeah, I can just... Kind of gives an interesting effect. God damn it. I just keep it on separate layers. Put that past the red layers. Doesn't fucking listen to the words I fucking say. He like fucking like any time I start saying something, he just draws all these conclusions from it, thinking that I mean something else. And it's like, just listen to the fucking words that are coming out of my mouth. Like years and years and years of failing to listen. It becomes abuse. And then all you see, oh, I didn't want to make you angry. I'm fucking angry for a fucking reason! I literally fucking got my fucking work day started! And I was trying to fucking work! And then you fucking derailed me with some bullshit about your fucking computer that you need to take care of yourself! Like, I fucking never have a fucking meltdown with regular people. I never have a fucking meltdown with somebody who doesn't constantly fucking fail to listen to somebody that you have been abusing. By failing to fucking listen to a fucking single word I have fucking said for over a decade. fucking life of my own! I want a life of my own! I just want fucking freedom! I just want freedom! I just want freedom! Not to be fucking held down by a fucking piece of shit alcoholic who misses his fucking doctor's appointment for a problem that he keeps complaining about every single fucking day about a fucking hip that you fucking destroyed because you refused to quit drinking. Okay, I am not you! I am not you! I think differently than you. I have different values than you. I am so fucking tired of you fucking dominating me like a fucking slug on my brain. Okay, this is not just your house. Fucking piece of shit. Just like absolutely refuses to listen to anything I fucking say. Just constantly, oh well, I'm acting calmly. I'm not in the wrong. Like you don't understand like a fucking single thing about how autism works at all. That when you push me beyond my limit every single fucking day with your alcoholic behavior, there's gonna be something that hurts me. And I'm not fucking crazy. What fucking part of autism do you not understand? After years and years and years of me explaining it to you. No fucking way out of this life situation with you. That you are the only one I can live with. That there is no fucking way out of here. That I have fucking been spending years of my life just trying to fucking get away from you. That I have been trying to get away from you my whole entire life. And I can't because I have nowhere else to live. Because no matter how hard I fucking try, I can't. That I try so many different things and I go to doctors and I work with them really closely and I constantly try to fucking escape your drunk, abusive ass.